Hi everyone, my name's Sean Nolan. I'm the Head of Technical Education for the HOB Academy and Salon Group. This is my model Freya. And just what I'm going to be showing you today at Hair Tribe TV is a really 70s neon geometry vibe. So keep watching and you'll see how I've done it. Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. My name is Sean Nolan. I am the Head of Technical Education for the HOB Salon and Academy Group, and I am a creative educator for the Wella Colour Creative Team as well. My plan for today is to show you some commercial but creative colouring techniques, because being a fan of Hair Tribe TV, I have seen that what's gone on so far and what's been featured already has been quite editorial and quite avant-garde. So I want to do something that's a bit more commercially viable, just so it may be a technique you could actually take back to your salon or take back to your education environment and use them. So this is Freya. Freya is actually a client of mine. So again, it's really about me showing you something you could use in the salon. She came to me with previously coloured hair by myself, with lots of blue and green tones through the lengths and ends. Her root being a natural 7 medium blonde level with a kind of mid-band that was on a level of a 3, so a dark brown that I've lightened up to a nice warm 5 and a nice warm 10 level. I want to make her really, really bright and vivid, because it's something that we're working on at the moment, a trend I've been given from Wella called Crayola Bright, and a trend that HOB have as a brand, as a colour house, that we're calling Neo Geo. So really working with geometric shapes, which we'll see in the styling, but a really, really neon finish on the hair. So I'm gonna crack on and just section off the back, because she has got a small undercut section, which I'm gonna make kind of a peekaboo feature. And I'm gonna just do almost like a sunset sunblast at the back here and fade from pink into purple. So just use a little bit of hairspray just to isolate everything out of my way. To create this kind of sunset blend, I'm working with a flat brush, as heavy and as flat as I can, to get maximum saturation on Freya's blonde. So this was previously pre-lightened using blonde or granules with 6% peroxide 1-to-1 mixture, just to get me this nice clean 10 level blonde. I haven't toned this or anything previously, it's just been left as is. So using flat brush, super flat, and then blending out into a stud brush, so a vertical brush just to blend out. So again, I've gone from maximum saturation with a flat brush into less saturation with a stood up or a vertical brush. And I'm going to do the reverse, working from the nape up with my purple. So again, flat brush on the nape. Being careful because I'm using direct dye, I don't want to stain her skin too much. So flat brush, and then into vertical stood brush, just to blend out. So at HOB, we're famous for harmonious colouring. So I'm using everything in a very cool palette, pinks and purples, just to blend them together. So we get a nice kind of sunset blend. And I probably will just go in with my fingers ever so slightly to finish. So it's like a kind of balayage technique on short shaved hair. I'm just going to isolate this with what I call a cotton wool worm, just to stop any bleeding and any other hair falling on top of it. So again, like Freya is a client of mine. She's had every kind of pigment under the sun. She's been red, she's been blue, she's been green. But I've just found I used her as a model for a masterclass with Wella, and this kind of purple really, really worked on her skin. So I'm sticking with it. Just going to isolate that with a wrap. So now I'm going through, working with her natural base of a 7. I want to drop her and give her kind of a modern neo-Gothic vibe. So I'm going to make it quite dark and heavy, but then have a punchy, strong, kind of floral, flowery tone throughout. So I have mixed 30 grams of 8/8-1, 30 grams of 5/6-6, and 30 grams of 0/6-8, all from the Wella Colour Touch range. So a demi or oxidising semi-permanent colour. So I don't want to cause too much build-up. I just want it to drop down ever so slightly and give a nice kind of almost aubergine purple through the root area. Okay. And just work fundamentally on a root application and stretch it down. And I'll work around her face last, just so that, again, because I'm using quite a strong purple pigment and quite a saturating product, I don't want to cause any kind of skin staining unnecessarily. Really working quickly with a nice 1/2 inch section, nice and clean. And this is really, like I say, part of the Hob Colour House Neo Geo trend. So her hair is normally quite curly, but I've straightened it before colouring just for ease of application. So it's not tangly. That's a nice tip. Sometimes if you've got clients with curly hair, really get them to brush it through and straighten it out a tad before you start working. Makes your life a lot easier and cleaner. And yeah, so her actual shape will be quite geometric when we've styled it later today. I'm going to give her quite a nice big, frizzy, 70s afro vibe. And the colour's going to be really strong. Just stretching this down, wide tooth comb, just stretching the root ever so slightly. Again, good for blending. It's good to have lots of tools in your arsenal and your toolkit. Just going to swap sides now. So yeah, at Hob we've got a real big focus at the moment about making sure that our ethos, which is a wow ethos, and wow comes from 3 different things, and the first one being suitability. So is this going to suit Freya? So I'm going to take this off because it's staying quite stable. So yeah, suitability. So is this going to suit her? Yes, it's going to suit her skin tone. I know it is because I've done it before on her, this violet-y tone. Also, is it going to be well executed? Well, I'm doing it, so I hope so. And in terms of colour, that just means everything I'm doing, really clean working, really neat sectioning, consciously colouring her hair. That's another thing we work with. So just being conscious that I'm not making a mess of her. I'm being conscious of her body position, that she's comfortable in the chair, that I've gowned her up properly, she's clean, that my working area is tidy. So you've got suitability, yes, it will suit her, execution, and probably the most important for me, being an old-fashioned student and Freya being a Central St Martin's graduate, a fashion student as well, that it suits her fashion sense. So that doesn't mean that she has to look a certain way or she has to suit her age limit. It's, will she walk down the road and wear her hair, not her hair wear her. So is it fashionable for her and her tribe of people? So will her friends look at her and go, wow, that's cool. So just working through now, liberally applying this product. I'm going to just leave her hairline out, her very front hairline here, until I actually start putting in my placement, so I'm not leaving colour sat on her finest part of her hair. Just to recap, so what I have done is through her undercut here, I've just isolated and made like a sunset blend from a pink into a violet using Wella Colour Creative, so their new direct pigment, so really strong and bright as a peekaboo section. I've then applied my global gloss from root through to mid-band and just used a wide tooth comb. So just a normal wide tooth comb that you might use for barbering, just to stretch the colour down. What I'm going to do now is put in my section and just explain the geometry of it and why I'm working that way. Okay, so I've left my hairline out until this point, just because the colour I'm using is quite staining. I didn't want to put the colour on straight away. And what I'm going to do now is just with mesh, or colour wraps, whatever you like to call them, is just paint almost like a tabby cat print. So I'm not going to do anything too systematic, but working with a violet and a pink. Through the mid-band, and then just alternating as I drop down. So this whole idea has come from me looking at Japanese culture, because it's just something I've really been interested in lately, and there's lots of kind of Japanese ethoses that are coming to the forefront. One is Wabi-sabi, which basically is about understanding the beauty of aging and the transience of things. So normally you'd want the colour to be true and even from root to tip, but I'm kind of going against that with this. So I don't mind it almost being patchy, but intentionally. And again, this kind of really goes with HOBs ethos for colour, because it's very much about harmoniousness. So I'm not using a green and a red, I'm using a violet and a pink, so you get a really nice blend. And I'm just going to alternate between the two, not have any specific pattern or thought process about why I'm placing these where I am, just going for it really visually and working more as a colourist rather than a hair colourist. So I'm now just using my hands because I'm taking bigger sections due to her parting being on the left-hand side there. I just really want to make sure I'm saturating this product through, and then using my first finger on my index finger just to massage and blend into that root colour. So getting a nice vibrant pink, which will be amazing when it's got its natural texture. Okay, so yeah, last section at the back here. Just reverse that last one, so I'll be taking purple at the root, which is really good for the crown because it will help keep it looking a bit more flat, a bit more dense and a bit more dark, and then the pink on the ends again just to really expand her natural curl and shape. So really kind of contouring without putting a contour in, just using the colour and the vibrancy and the colour choice to do a physical job. I think sometimes we forget about that and we get too wrapped up in really clever sections and all of that stuff. And if you just think about what colour actually does, so that, you know, blue and black will shrink and make things look smaller and skinnier, and red will always make things look rounder and bigger. So now you've got a flatter, deeper root and big texture using a red-based pink. So that, just to recap, again, I have done my sunset panel on the shaved nape, then just taken quite sporadic, random sliced areas. Some of them are just one flat colour, some of them are blended with the two, just to give internal texture in her internal shape. Through this top area now, I haven't decided about these two front areas, but I think I will take those into the side. Through this top area, I'm just going to take the violet-based purple all the way through, just so that you've got something that sits and shrinks the colour a bit through the top. So we're going to have expanse with lots of that pink introduced through the internal shape, but then the purple will sit on top and help shrink the whole thing in. Okay. So these two little areas I've left at the hairline for where her hair might flick like a fringe, I'm going to introduce a bit more pink, just so there's something a bit more pop around her face. So again, just making sure I'm colouring her hairline last, because it's really going to grab, and I don't want her to have a stain around her head. Being conscious of her as a girl, I don't want her to look like she's just had her hair coloured 10 minutes ago as she walks down the road. So now I'm just going to take my purple through these lengths and ends, and we're done. So just recap everything. I have used all Wella portfolio, so I've used Colour Touch using a mixture of 8/8-1, 5/66 and 0/68 with 1.9% developer as my global colour. I've then gone in using a zigzag section just to give maximum blend from top through to the curve of her head. On my sporadic panels, I've used a mixture of Wella Colour Creative Team High Magenta for my pink, and then for my violet I've used equal parts of ultra purple and pure violet. So what I hope to get is a really nice dense aubergine brunette at the root into a nice kind of mix of magenta and violet tones throughout to create texture. Through the top, through the zigzag teardrop section, I've just used the violet shade just so that it saturates and sinks the shape a bit more, and then the pink through the internal will give a bit more expanse and a bit more width. And then just a bit of a highlight and an accent in her shaved area underneath, so she does tie her hair up. She gets a little colour pop back there. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we're back from shampooing and conditioning using Wella System Professional Colour Save Shampoo and Conditioner. We've also done an antioxidant treatment, Colour Save Emulsion, just to help lock everything in. So as you can see, the technique, a little bit more violet in, a bit softer through the top, and then loads of internal pink and violet texture throughout. I'm literally going to just go through now and dress this out so she becomes a little bit less Shirley Temple and a little bit more kind of Diana Ross. So really expanding this shape. So you can see our philosophy of working tone on tone is really evident here. Even though I've gone a little bit stronger with vibrancy, it's still a violet-based brunette with a violet-based top panel and then a pink-based violet throughout. So really expanding the shape. I don't want to lose that actual lovely curly texture that's in there too much and make it too frizzy, so I'm not going to use the brush too much, just a little to take this away from my face. Just to keep the integrity of the curl. Maxine has worked so hard to get it curly. I don't want to lose it. Just really. So just to show off that shape and texture. And as I was saying, this is part of the neon geometry trend. So she's got a really strong, round, geometric shape, and the colour is really, really striking to show off the texture. Don't want to make it too done. She's still just a normal girl at the end of the day. But, finished result. Thanks.